你好吗？我叫是 Lola, and this is my channel Languages with Laura. Hi, I'm Laura. This is my channel Languages with Laura, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to talk about how to study languages with a busy schedule. So I've seen a lot of videos like this recently. A lot of people have been coming out with videos like this, and they have good advice. I'm not saying that the advice isn't good. I just think there's another thing or two that can probably help if you work full-time, or you're a student, or even a volunteer, and you just find yourself with a very busy schedule. There are definitely lots of things you can do to try and create or find time out of your busy schedule to learn a language. And again, everyone else who has made videos, they all have great advice, like listening to podcasts and music while you're doing other things, really good things to do. But that's not the only thing, because that doesn't always work for everyone. So I'm gonna share some of my tips and ideas on how to learn a language with a busy schedule. Also, my ideas probably are not that original. I'm not, these are things that I found that helped me as someone who is a full-time student and works 2 part-time jobs. Hi! And so I work definitely more than an 8-9 hour day most days, and that's not even including my long commute every day. So the first thing is really something that is best to identify for yourself, and everyone is going to be different, but when are you productive? Not everybody's productive at the same time of day. Some people are morning people and they're productive right when they wake up in the morning. Others are productive in the middle of the day, and others even still are productive in the evenings. Like, they're night owls. They tend to do better at night when it's dark. So it can be important to know when are you productive. If you're productive in the morning, then it might be best to find time to study in the mornings. Maybe get up an hour earlier before you go to work or before you go to school and create a lesson for the mornings. Or if it's in the evenings, same thing. After you get home, have a little bit of rest time, but then have a dedicated hour, half hour, whatever, to language learning. If you're like me and you're productive when the sun is out but not in the morning, that can be quite a bit trickier because there isn't always that natural break in our day, especially if you work a 9-to-5 job or you're in class and you maybe only have a 15-minute lunch break, or you work through your lunch break most of the time. I've been there. That can be pretty tricky to do. So next thing I would say is to figure out and evaluate your energy levels. When do you have energy? And this kind of coincides with productivity quite a bit, because you're productive when you have energy, whether it's mental energy, physical energy. I used to work a very physical job, but it didn't take a lot of mental energy, and so then instead of working during my most productive time, I would work when I had the mental energy to do so. And the final part to also take into consideration when you're trying to figure out when is the best time for you to study is your motivation. What motivates you? When do you find yourself motivated? Do you get motivated every day to learn the language, or very occasionally? I do have a video on how to stay motivated, so if you're interested, you should definitely check that out. But taking note of when you're productive, when you have energy, and when you're motivated, because you really need all three in order to learn a language. So being able to find a time in your busy schedule, whether it's creating time or moving things around, and this sometimes can do with priorities. I know I can tend to prioritize doing other things over learning a language, even though learning a language makes me happy and will be beneficial for my future. I know this, and yet sometimes I'm still but I want to clean the bathroom or do laundry or go out, do this, whatever. Sometimes it's also just reassessing your priorities. And as an American, a lot of us have a really bad work-life balance. So I always encourage to reevaluate and think about What do you actually want to prioritize? Maybe don't do a working lunch break every day. Maybe take 2-3 days a week where you're going to say, no, I'm actually going to take my lunch break, not work through it, and then maybe you can do a mini lesson during that. The other thing I would say is to make sure when you are planning how you're going to learn a language, schedule and have long and short lessons. I don't think you can really sporadically learn a language if you're a busy person. It might work if you are not as busy or you're not struggling to find the time, energy, or productivity for it. But if you do work a lot or you are a student, you might not be able to do a long lesson every day, and that's fine. But it is important to do a lesson every day, because if you do it every day, you're going to learn it more efficiently, you are going to learn it faster, and you're going to learn it better. It's not just going to be that you can reach an intermediate or an advanced level in a short amount of time, but you're going to speak more fluently, you are going to understand it better. Overall, you're going to speak the language better. So if you can't have a long lesson, that's fine, but do a short lesson every day that you cannot do a long lesson. In my current schedule, my Tuesdays and Thursdays are incredibly busy. So I try to only do a 15-20 minute lesson that's probably mostly review. Not necessarily trying to tackle something new every day, but having a good long lesson on Monday, review it in 2 parts on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then Wednesdays and Fridays, using the same material but doing a longer lesson with it, doing more exercises, learn it more diversely. So that way that you can study the language every day, but don't hold yourself to, I'm going to do an hour every day, because you're going to burn out if you do it like that too. And we don't want to burn out, because if you're really busy and then you push yourself too much with the language, yeah, you're going to burn out real quick. So do plan for short and longer lessons. And if a shorter lesson can turn into a longer lesson, great, but never pressure yourself to do so, as long as you have at least 1, maybe 2 long lessons a week. Even if it's on the weekend, you truly do need to have a little bit of time to learn a language. It's just a question of how you can fit it into your schedule, how you can prioritize it, and make sure you have the energy for it. Along with that, strategize. Learn how you learn. Not everybody learns the same way. For some people, listening to podcasts might be great. If you are not focusing on reading or writing, or you're an auditory learner, yeah, that's going to be great. And then you might be able to listen to podcasts to or from work or to or from school, or while you're doing the dishes or whatever. That's great. Personally, I don't work that way. I'm a visual person. I need to see the word if I'm ever going to remember it or remember how to say it. So knowing that about myself, now I know how to structure my long lessons versus my short lessons, because if I am doing a short lesson, it should be something that actually works for me to learn. I'm not going to do a 15-minute podcast in a short lesson, because I'm not going to learn anything. I'm not going to remember anything, and it's really not going to do much for me. But reading a short story, like a children's story or a news article, that works so much better for me for a 10-minute lesson even. Or doing a language learning app or a video, something visual that is still short. I can even find like a 30-minute language video and then break it up on Tuesday and Thursdays. Versus longer lessons, again, diversify. That's when I can really listen to something and write it down. That's when I can look up words to songs. That's when I can, do X, Y, and Z. So just be smart. Know how you learn and strategize your short and long lessons accordingly. And then the final tip is something that is just good for learning a language, whether you're busy or not, and that's just to be smart about your learning. A lot of languages have patterns. Look for those patterns. Get used to them, figure them out. You can probably even start to predict them once you really get comfortable with the patterns and the language. So just sometimes at the very beginning, it can be difficult to, again, find the time, figure out a schedule that works, resources that works. But if you just say, I'm going to devote an hour or two on Saturday, Sunday, whatever, to get started, whether it's every week or once a month, just to figure it out, get your head on straight, do that so that you don't have to worry about it, you don't have to think about it too much, and you can really just enjoy learning the language, because ultimately language learning should be fun. You know, I mean, you're learning to talk to someone, and even for introverts like myself, like, that excites me, having a one-on-one conversation with someone in a way that makes them feel comfortable. Yeah, I am all for it. So just remember, at the end of the day, language learning should be fun, should be interesting, should be something you want to do. If you don't want to do it, then don't. Unless you're in school and it's required, then try your darndest. And this is coming from someone who is a translation student. I am learning in school for this, so. And if you are a student, I actually recommend taking a psychology class, either a psychology or sociology. But honestly, taking a psychology class in my high school, I learned how humans learned, and I was given the time and space to learn how I learn. How do I remember things? Why do I remember things? What kind of things do I remember? And that's how I can apply it to these different techniques for language learning specifically. So if you're a student and you're in college like me, hi, good luck on exams. But like, if you have room in your schedule, take a psychology class. It's interesting and it could be helpful for you, not just in terms of psychology and understanding the human brain. So yeah, those are the things that I would keep in mind when you're considering learning a language, but you're hesitant with a busy schedule. And honestly, the worst thing that you can do is to just not even try. Sometimes it's going to be trial and error. You got to try it out, figure out what works, figure out what doesn't. Just don't be hard on yourself. If you're doing something and you feel like it's not working, try something else. Even if you are doing something and you think it is working, it might be worth trying something else just to, again, avoid burnout and figure out what you can do so that you can learn even a little bit every day. Because that's how you're going to learn the language. It just is. Thank you all very much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to let me know by giving it a thumbs up. Comment down below what are some of your methods or strategies if you're very busy, how you learn a language, how you practice it, how you either keep it up or advance in it, whatever. We're a community here, so we love to help each other out, so definitely comment those things down below. And if you like content like this, then subscribe. I try to post the videos on Mondays, and they're always language learning or travel content, so definitely subscribe if you like it and hit the bell to be notified. Otherwise, I also have social media linked down below, again with lots of travel and language learning content, so if you want more, go ahead and click those links below. But yeah, thank you all very much again, and 再见.